everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of Javier in the Air. This is episode 3 for those of you keeping score. Yes, here we are in a nice and dreary and cold January 23rd, 2022. I hope the month has gone well for you, for those of you. It's not gone too well for a lot of people. So, we had Meatloaf passed this week, and we've had a couple of other people pass this week. And it's kind of been dreary, and it's just hasn't been overall bright and shiny month yet. But I'm hoping that turns around. But to add to that, personal issue came up with me this week. And by the way, thank you for those of you that have asked. I am doing much better. I still have the cough, but I'm still testing negative, and so everything's good. It's just sinus. I haven't had sinus in many, many, many years this bad. So hopefully that will be gone in the next couple of days. So anyway, some tree tragedy, I guess you could say, for me. Not as important as a lot of the other things I just mentioned, but still nonetheless something that I have to deal with. And so the ash tree that I have in my backyard, I think it's made it onto the podcast a couple of times, has finally started to drop and break off. It's been pretty dry. Technically it's been dead since the snow apocalypse, snowmageddon, basically killed what was left of a little bit of vigor that I was trying to get into it. Now the tree's been here much longer than I've been in the house. I've only been in the house 7 years, and it's has to be quite a much older tree. I believe it's an Arizona ash, from what I've been told, and Arizona ashes in this part of Texas, on average, last about 10 years. However, I know this is longer than that, because at least some of the tree rings that I've seen on some of the thicker branches are at least 12 rings. So that's at least 12 years old. I'm thinking that it's much older than that. Neighbor James and Zyda remember it being here for quite some time. So I'm thinking it's much older than that. I got lucky with it. It was kind of shaky for a while, and I did some pruning, and I had the canopy raised, and I did what I could to get some more life out of it, and I think I got it to last another couple of years before snowpocalypse finally took it out. So I talked a little bit about the Japanese maple tree I had in the front yard, or at least that's what I was told. It was a Japanese maple, and I kind of did the same thing with that. And if those of you watching my previous podcast, especially season 2, you would have seen that it died. That also died during snowpocalypse, but it also broke off and caused issues. So I had to, break it down, cut it all up, get it out of here, and then I was burning the stump to make room so that I can plant another tree. We'll talk about that tree in a moment. So the Arizona ash is gone. It's still here, but I'm gonna have to get it removed, which is unfortunate. And it's a huge tree, so I'll show you some here in a minute. So I started breaking it down this weekend, but it was really, really cold this weekend, so I didn't get to do as much as I wanted. Plus, my little chintzy chainsaw that I bought it just can't hold up. I go through too many chains. I tried sharpening the chain, it doesn't matter. And I think a lot of the parts are plastic. And so the talk of this episode, which is about trees, the tree, and then, of course, our Zen moment and spirits. Well, for those of you who may work on your own trees, or you watch people cut your trees down and you try to do some maintenance on your own, one thing I've learned is that you need to get a really good chainsaw if you're going to do some work. The chainsaw I had is not. It's not. I shouldn't be having to go through as many chains as I've had. Even though I try to sharpen a couple, doesn't seem to do anything. Plus, like I said, a lot of the parts are plastic. So the problem with plastic is that it's plastic, and so there's going to be some stress on it. There's going to be some wear down of the pieces, especially the moving pieces, and it just seems to be that as soon as I put a brand new chain on that chainsaw, it would go maybe 20-30 minutes, and then by then it would start stretching out so that it would sag. Now it shouldn't sag that quickly, and I should be able to adjust the fine tuning on the chainsaw to tighten the chain. That doesn't seem to be the case. That lasts for 2 or 3 seconds, and then the vibrations was causing it basically to loosen up again. So I could never get more than one, and I'm sure there was some stretching on the chain itself, but I could never get it tight enough again so that by the time I used it for 20-30 minutes, it would be dull again, or it would be so stretched out I couldn't use it anymore. So I'm giving up on this chainsaw. Maybe some of you out there might have a good idea on some of the other things that I might be able to do, or some other options for chainsaws that aren't going to cost me $300-400, because I don't use it that often, but when I want to use it, I want to use it. And unfortunately, that was the case with trying to work on the tree this weekend. Okay, so sometime between Monday night, this past Monday night, which was MLK Day, this past Monday night and Wednesday morning, this tree limb fell down on my ash tree. So, yes, it fell on my ash. So, I don't know. I didn't hear it. Luckily, it didn't seem to cause any damage. No damage to the house. It didn't hit the house. It didn't hit anybody else's house, which is good. I'm really happy about that. It didn't take out a fence. It didn't take out anything. I think it took out a large, heavy glass table, iron and glass table that I had out in the yard. So I think they made the sacrifice and helped it so that all the weight of it coming down was taken out on that table, which I still have to clean up as well. So let's take a look, and you can see what I saw Wednesday morning when I stepped outside. Okay, so this is what I walked out into Wednesday morning. As you can see, the limb has come down, and there's nothing but dead branches on there. It's been dried out for a while, and so yeah, it looked scarier than it actually was. There's a close-up of the table that was shattered like it was spun glass, and the glass itself probably weighed 40 pounds. The table itself probably weighed about 100. So the limb probably weighed about 300 to 400 pounds, and so that was crazy. Here's a close-up shot of some of the broken off limbs and what I encountered on Wednesday morning. So it was a little bit crazy. So I got a better shot of the deck, and here's the deck now, and you can see that it's a little bit crazy. Like I said, a lot of little tiny branches, but I was able to take care of that fairly quickly. So I'll show you some of that later in the podcast. Okay, so there you have it. There's the shots of what before I did any work to it at all. So if you've had to deal with this, there's many things you can do. You can start cutting down like I did. I'm scheduled to have a quote, but not until the 31st because it's been kind of crazy, to have a team actually an arborist come out and give me a breakdown of what I need to do, a quote basically of of what it's going to cost me to cut the tree. Now, for those of you who live in the Texas area and have your own home, or not even in Texas area, but have your own home and have had a tree cut down, you'll know that the most expensive part, in my opinion, and from what the different quotes I've gotten over the years on different trees, is really the stump grinding. So last time I had this checked, I actually had them give me a quote last year, March, April, I want to say. Same company, so we'll see what happens. They gave me a quote of $2,000, and that was to remove the tree and to cut the stump down to the ground. They don't do any stump grinding, even though they said they do a bit of it to make sure that it's even with the ground. But the thing is, this is a big tree, so it's not cutting it down to the ground doesn't necessarily help anything other than its ground level. Plus, if I don't know, you can't tell, but the ground around it is kind of like all over the place. So I don't know what they would consider the ground. It'd be interesting to see what they say. Excuse me. So, but if I didn't have it ground or cut down to stump level, it saved like $600. So I don't know if that's par for the course. If anybody out there has gotten huge trees done before, let me know. I'm going to get a quote from this guy before I schedule anything, and we'll see. I've had some other people offer some people who may cut also. But what I want to do is I want to keep about 36 to 48 inches or 3 to 4 feet of the stump, because I want to do something with it. I think it would be either cool to make a real cool table out of it, or to kind of carve it out and curve it and then use that as like a fire pit spot. I think it would be cool. I have a bunch of other tables that would also be cool to do some things around it. Still working on the wine barrel. It hasn't been warm enough in order for me to stain it. So that's what I got coming up. Luckily, I've been putting a little money aside for this occasion, because I knew it was going to happen sooner rather than later. I was really hoping for it to go to the end of the year. For those of you who like trees like I do, and you saw me in a poem by Jay Anderson about trees in episode 1, or actually the episode for the end of the year, one of those two. You saw that, I have a great respect for trees. I like trees. I like trees in my yard. And, but I like decent trees, decent strong trees that are going to grow up, and give shade and give shelter and give nurturing to my yard. A lot of these older homes, and even some of the newer home construction, they plant a lot of things that are called junk trees. Now, junk trees are pretty much trees that look nice for the first 4 or 5 years, and then they just become a hassle. They're more of a weed. They have shallow roots, so they get uprooted very quickly. I had some red tips in the back that looked very nice, but very, very shallow roots. A couple of bad storms took out 1 or 2. I cut 1 or 2 down because they were growing like a weed. Plus, they don't give good They don't give good shade so that grasses can still grow. Their sap and their shade is so dense that it just kills everything, so that you basically have no yard, and you're walking around on dirt or clay in this area. So I like trees like oaks, and even the bent oaks, even though they look kind of crazy. And I love that ash that I had out there, but time comes for everything, and so I'm gonna have to say goodbye to it. But like I said, I want to keep a stump at a certain level. So let me show you a little bit of what something you can do for your cutting purposes if you have to cut down a tree. Now, I'm going to try to cut down the limb that's here before I even get a quote from anybody, because one, I know they would do it, but two, it's just easier for me to get it done, and I can do it. I'm still vibrant enough that I can break down this tree. I'll probably have to get a new chainsaw or rent a chainsaw. I was using a Sawzall, if you know what that is. I was using that for a while. But I need to change the blade on that. But I came in to do the podcast, so I had to stop on that. But I'll break it down and get it out before I get a quote, and I know that will save me, because they're always willing to take it away and break it down for you, but they also will do that for a price. So, and as people know, and if you may have learned over these 3 seasons, I am very frugal. So if I can get it done myself, I'm going to do it myself. There's no reason for me not to. Saves me money, and I get to learn. I get to learn about doing things, and I love to do things on my house and people's houses and fix things up for everyone. So it's certainly fun. Okay, so let's take a look at what I did this weekend as far as try to start cleaning up on that big tree limb that came down. So luckily, even though it was really cold, it was a nice and sunny day. So after I got going, it was nice. So you could see here that by this point I've trimmed off all the little small little branches and everything for the most part, and those are the ones that were going into the pit, the fire pits. And so there's another shot of me. Maybe about an hour later, broken it down even more. All that's left is pretty much cutting off the big pieces, and then I can start, just bundling those and leave those available for anybody that wants them. So here's the fire pits, the circle on the left and the square on the right. And as I was breaking down all those little limbs, I was just throwing them onto those pits, and they burned very well. So it made for a nice day. It kind of warmed up the whole yard. As you can see, the grass is going well, and there's a shot of the fire pit itself, the circular one, as it looks like I just threw some more limbs on there. So keeping it nice and in a good spot, it was able to burn really quickly. So it did quite well. Okay, so you see what I was going through on there. Um, but you know what? I've had some people offer me some chainsaws and stuff like that, so I'm gonna be okay. Um, and honestly, I like doing that kind of work. I don't do that normally on a day to day. I work on a computer all day long, uh, doing my regular full time job and the podcast. And so getting me out of the house and doing yard work and everything is something that makes me feel better, makes me feel healthier, gets me moving, and gets me motivated to try to do different projects. As you saw the grass out there with the two fire pits as I was burning the branches. When I first bought the house, there was no grass back there. It was all dirt, and a trampoline had been out there, so another section had been just the grass had been destroyed, and so there was a lot of shade from the red tips. So um, a lot of the yard was just dead. And so with the advent of me removing the some of the bad things, the trampoline got removed before I bought the house, and eventually removed the red tips, and I cleaned up some of the other bushes that were in the yard that were basically just killing the yard. And 3 years, 3 years in a row of seeding that backyard with zoysia, um, uh, St. Augustine, fescue, and I think another one. Just throwing whatever I could out there at different times of the year to try to get grass to grow. Now it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think um, I had a suggestion of doing that, different types of grasses, so that you kind of have grass growing in the winter and you have grass growing during the summer. And so your yards kind of stay green. And I kind of see that in my front yard as well. In fact, I just mowed those yards after I took those photos, the front and the back. And they're staying pretty green. Of course, it's been that kind of winter that it didn't really kill off a lot of grass. But I have winter grasses, so they do better, and they're hardier and more resistant to the cold. So they actually grow quite well. So there's that. Um, so I'll get rid of that stump. I'm not sure if anybody has any ideas of what I can do with some of those stumps besides burning them and just throwing them away and giving them away. Section of that stump that branch that I have, I call it a stump. That branch that's actually down on the ground already. If I can find something to do with that, or if you have a suggestion of what I can do with that, please let me know. I'd love to try to do some kind of art project with it, or wood turning, or something like that, which would be really cool. Maybe cut it into plates, or use some kind of epoxy resin with it and do something out that I could do outside with them. I think it'd be really cool. I'd like to keep them if I could. Just depends on what I can do with it. So let me know if anybody has any ideas. Okay, so in order to give a good fond farewell to the ash tree that's been with me since I bought the house, I have a Zen moment for us, and a kind of a poem by Jay Anderson. So let's take a look and bid a fond farewell to the ash tree. Ah, tree. Yeah, you meant a lot to me. Branches reaching up to the sky and showing what it means to be free. Sunlight streaming down on you and me. I'm not forgetting you, my sweet ash tree. Oh, tree. Moonlight streaming down on you and me. As I put down soil and seed, you watched it all, and rustled in laughter as you saw me fall. But I laughed right with you as I got up on one knee. Dear tree, you helped me learn that life was meant to be welcomed, to be joyous, to be happy, to be free. All this as you watched over my hood and my neighbors, and most especially, you watched over me. Goodbye, dear tree. There we go. Nice little moment for the ash tree. By the way, I keep getting some comments about the music, or some messages, direct messages about the music. That little music in the background was called Coconut Tree. I couldn't find one called Ash Tree, so Coconut Tree. Didn't have a name as to who did it. Some more of the free music that I get. That comes with my editing software. And the opening bit is called Dancing Trees. So, trees all the way around today. So, okay, so now it's time for the spirits, and let's take it away with the new opening section for spirits. Here we go.
It's spirit time.
Yeah, spirit time. Okay, how'd you like that opening? If you like that opening, be sure and leave me a message on Javier in the Air, or on Facebook, or on Instagram, or wherever you may see me, or know how to get a hold of me. If you got my digits, then dial them. Or if you didn't like it, certainly let me know. Drop me a message, dial my digits, do what you need to do to get a hold of me, and let me know. I think I'm going to change up the audio portion of it from time to time, or maybe every time, depending on the feedback I get. But it's now time for the spirit time. Spirit time has to do with a review of either a beer, an alcohol, hence spirit, or a wine. So today I'm sticking with beer, just like I did last week. And I apologize to Scott and Jana at the Boutique. I didn't get to see you guys this week. I am really behind the eight ball as far as getting out and running errands, and you're one of the errands that I have. Plus, I'm all out of beer, and I don't like being out of beer because I like to have people come over and have something ready for them. And the brother Rob, of course, he always brings me something good, and he's always hoping to find something good in my outdoor fridge. So today I'm going back to an oldie but a goodie as far as the brewery goes. These guys put out a ton of beer of different tastes and that I really enjoy, and so it's never a problem to have them on. I wish they would be watching the show and they would invite me to their brewery, and I'd love to have them on my podcast and try some of their new stuff, try some of their stuff from the brewery. In fact, that would be nice. So we're looking at 903 breweries. 903 breweries. So 903 is out of Brenham, Texas. So if you're not familiar with them, look it up. 903 Brewers. They've done a lot of the stuff that I've had here before, and they're just really good. They put out some seasonal, some very specific type beers. This is their Chupacabra Stout Batch 4. So not only is it, I mean, what a name already. Chupacabra Stout Batch 4. So obviously it's a stout. As you can see, for those of you who may not know, the Chupacabra is a legendary animal that is from Mexican Indian tradition. and literally chupacabra means goat sucker. So the legend is that this creature would roam around in areas where there were a large number of goats, and they would suck them everything out of them, but leave the bones and fur. So, and if you have a different legend for the chupacabra, by all means, let me know, and I'll get it on the show next week. But chupacabra, so it's obviously a stout. Let me see here. If you want to reach them, you can reach 903 Brewers at www.903brewers.com. So this is, and forgive me if I can't see it. I'm going to have to get the old man light out. See what I can get, because I really want to read this to you. In the fourth release of our Chupacabra series, we set forth to craft a colossal beer with fantastical flavors. This Imperial Oak Aged Stout boasts bewitching notes of coconut, marshmallow, hazelnut, and white chocolate. Its depths are dark as night and rich with bittersweet delights. Indulge in all your superstitions while you enjoy this creature's fourth sighting. So Chupacabra Stout Batch 4, it's 12 point, want to read that again, 12.8 ABV, fantastic, the brother Rob would like this too, and it pairs well with spiced sausage, sweet potato pie, and close encounters. So there you have it. And then the type of glassware that they recommend is one that I already have out. And so if you get a chance, definitely check it out. Gonna go ahead and open this puppy up. Now, for those of you that may be more along the line of beer purists and don't like to have stuff in their beer, hey, that's your choice. But there's so many good choices out there, and 903 Brewers is one of them. So let's pour this. And I just spilled a bunch all over myself. So let me grab some napkins real quick. Yep, I got this all over the place. I'll deal with that after the show. So, here we go. Nice head. It's dark. You can tell by the lighting on here. It's really dark. Not much you can see to it. See through it, definitely you cannot. You can definitely smell the chocolate, marshmallow. Kind of smells like a s'more. So let's dive in and see what we get. Really good. I like it. Oh, I got beer on my phone. That's how important this beer is to me. Is I'm gonna let that sit on my phone while I'm doing this review. And you know what? Before I give any more, I need to have some more. Wow. You can really taste a little bit of spiciness in there. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but I like it. You can taste the chocolate. A little bit of the white chocolate on the back end. Definitely the marshmallow. And just it really does taste like a liquid s'more. Now, I've never been a big fan of s'mores, the actual food, but I like this. This is good. You get a little bit of the stoutness at the end on the back end. So definitely this is a stout. Not just by the taste, well, not just from the other flavors, but you do get a hint of what is considered a baseline stout on the back end here. And the more I drink, the more I can taste the stoutness. I'm sure Scott or Janet can describe it better. I am not a beer connoisseur, but I'm gonna have some more. Definitely begin. I think maybe as the oxidation occurs in the glass, as it's outside of the can, we're getting a hint of more flavors to it, which is really good. So I'll be finishing this tonight. Okay, so really good. So let me put that down before I keep drinking and just look like a total lush as I'm actually trying to do my show. So That is nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and give that 8.5 thumbs up. So if you're not familiar, if this is your first time, welcome. But if it's the first time watching Spirit Time, then I go from 0 to 10 thumbs up. So this was 8.5. So 8.5 thumbs up. Really good. I think I could see very well having spiced sausage with this. Definitely at Alien Encounters. I hope you have a chance to go out to the boutique or wherever. If you're not in the Austin Cedar Park area, get to your bottle shop and certainly grab some. Or if you have the opportunity to go out to Branham, Texas, and have some beer at the 903 Brewers, let them know their chupacabra is definitely along the lines of what we're looking for. So thanks again to the boutique for having these beers out here. Thanks to 903 Brewers for brewing something like this. And 903 Brewers, if you're watching, welcome. And if you'd like for me to taste test any more of your beers, please sure you can certainly send them to me. Just let me know. Or if you'd like to invite me out to your brewery, I'd like to walk through your brewery and check it out. And then have some brews with you. Apologize for that cough there. So that's it for Spirit Time. We'll see you next week. And I believe Javier will wrap it up. Javier will wrap up the entire show. Thanks a lot. And there you have it, everybody. The end to another show. Thank you for watching Javier in the Air episode 3 and my homage and farewell to the ash tree out in my backyard. If you'd like to see yourself on here, then just reach out to me and I'd love to have you on the show. We can have a co-host episode. Or if you have something interesting that you'd like to talk about, something you're passionate about, with the exception of religion or politics, then reach out to me as well. I'd love to see your business. I'll take a tour of your business and get you on the air. Now, I don't have a lot of followers, but I may reach people that don't know you at all, so that would be a great way for you to expand on your business. So I want to thank, again, the guys out at Boutique, Scott and Jana, 903 Brewers. I also like to thank everyone who has been watching the show. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any additional comments or questions, be sure and let me know. And I will see everybody again next week. Hopefully I'll have an update on some of the things that I've been doing, and maybe I can have 1 or 2 people on the show. I'd love to have some additional people, so I'm just not here talking into the ether that is my house. So everybody have a good rest of the week, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks a lot.